Live.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever the heck in the world you are. It's Technical Thursdays, where we had all sorts of technical glitches basically on my end from getting on. I mean, what's technical glitches without Technical Thursdays? But luckily, the producer par excellence and the man known as the master of the flux capacitor was able to help me out through this venture. So we are now live, people. We are live. It's the one and only Senor Silverback and CJ, the master of the flux capacitor, coming to you on another Rogue Money Mornings, where we break down the news, the views, and the information that's important to you. Follow us on roguemoney.net. Check us out on Twitter at The Rogue Money, as well as the Rogue Money Facebook page. And if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and download the podcast. There are millions doing it. Millions, I tell you. Millions of downloads. Go ahead. It's on Apple. It's on Google. It's any podcasting app. Just type in Rogue Money. We're there. This way you get all the shows. And make sure you subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell and hit a thumbs up because you like us and love us. With that being said, also, guys, check out our sponsors, myfreedomnow.us. Myfreedomnow.us. Get the funds. Get the credit. Get out of debt. Change your life. Hit it. Let's do it. Myfreedomnow.us. With that being said, CJ, what's going on?
Hey, V. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, buddy. Well, it's official, CJ. I don't know if you heard this, but it happened yesterday, and I was elated when the news came in, and I wasn't talking about the stupid Capitol shooting. I can care less about the stupid Capitol shooting. You know what I'm talking about?
You wouldn't happen to be talking about Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, would you?
That's right. I'm talking about Floyd Mouthy Mayweather and the Irish hitman, Conor Notorious McGregor. It's official, baby. August the 26th in Las Vegas. The fight is going down, and I cannot wait for Floyd Mayweather to get his head punched right off of his body. It's going to be great.
That's going to be like the largest pay-per-view fight card probably in the history of the sport, V.
Dude, I think I'm actually going to be buying that. Actually, I'm not going to buy it. You're going to give me that link or I give you it for free.
Yeah, that's too you know, they're probably going to be charging like at least $100 per pay-per-view on that bad boy.
I am going to give me that link that you always send me. I'll watch that thing for free, man. That's just, that's what I'm going to watch, bro.
There's people listening.
No, sorry about that. FCC, we're not talking about illegal streaming here. We don't know what that is. But I'll wink, nudge, pay $100 to watch that fight. It's going to be great, man. I think I'd like to see Mayweather knock the heck out. I think people are underestimating Conor. They don't realize Conor started off as a boxer. And do you see how Conor was trolling Mayweather so hard?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah. He said the fight is on and had a picture of himself and then Floyd Mayweather Sr. because he's making fun of how old Floyd looks. He had another picture of Floyd training some kid in the boxing gym. And then Conor's like, man, I really wish I could be training in the gym teaching boxing when I'm that old. and Floyd had no comeback, man. The only thing he does is, hey, look at my watch. Look at my jet. Look at my car. He's got nothing to show for it. So if he thinks he's going to be dancing in the ring for 90 minutes avoiding Conor, he's got another thing coming to him. Is he going to hit Conor a couple of times? Yeah. Conor needs to land one good solid shot on Mayweather and it's over. He's going to get her. Mayweather. Oh, I can't wait. People are underestimating. They're like, oh, well, Conor's not a boxer. Watch what happens. See, this has been the year of amazing crap that would happen. Things that people would not even think about, like Donald Trump winning.
Yeah, Donald Trump, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies,
everything. Ronda Rousey getting her crap kicked out of her. No one saw that coming. The Patriots, for the love of God. I mean, every Tiger Woods, another DUI. Who would have thought?
The Cubs, the World Series, and
I know the friggin' Cubs, bro. The friggin' Cubs. So this is the year anything is possible. And what an exciting time to be alive, man. I mean, I love all these great news and wonderful things are happening, and all this paradigm shifting is happening, and we have a dying relic of a system that is holding on to relevancy. And I don't know if you heard it or not, CJ, but did you hear about that new rule Or they're trying to pass for Bitcoin and dollars. It's so stupid.
V, they telegraphed this like several months ago, right? And we all knew that fake hacking event that occurred several months ago that only affected Windows XP and older systems.
Yeah.
And, the media is quick to come out and state, well, yeah, that they're requesting Bitcoin, for this. The other day, even Peter Schiff was buying into this narrative that I was really, surprised about. I know Schiff is a great, he's got his gold money. He does the metals, but he even bought into this narrative regarding Bitcoin and it being used as, almost like not terrorism. I don't want to state that, but more for these entities for ransoms and to pay anonymously. So again, and now we have the feds, V, that are like directly taking a look at this and saying, you know what, if you have Bitcoin and if you have cash at home, you better start declaring it, because we will go through forfeit seizures to get your money, to get your Bitcoin from you if you don't declare it.
And that's how stupid they are. Look, you have to be an idiot lackey to go tell certain authorities, hey, this is how much Bitcoin I have. You're an idiot. You deserve to have it taken away from you. That being said, I mean, for guys like Schiff, again, Schiff, I respect Peter Schiff a lot, I really do. But look, Pete, at the end of the day, you're selling a competing product. Peter's been on the show. He sells, what's he selling? BitGold? Okay, which plays off the name of Bitcoin, by the way.
Yeah, he's got his gold backed, debit Visa card, program, which it's a great thing. And here's the thing, V, there's room for both, right? There's room for both.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, this is what I'm saying. It's like, there are guys, I'm telling you right now, dude, there are guys. And you know what? For a hot minute, I was part of them. For a hot minute, I was part of them. I was like, yeah, this market's gonna crash. I think it's gonna come apart. And then I'm looking at I'm seeing the market enter what's called like a Six Sigma phase. I'm seeing Hindenburg events that are happening. I'm looking at, various trajectories that the market is going in. I'm looking at all sorts of indications that the market is in trouble. And I'm seeing geopolitical events that are occurring. And I guarantee you, sure as crap, if Clinton would have gotten elected, we would have been done. But then you see the algo change, and you're like, wait a minute, now the shift is not that. This thing's going to go hyperbolic, man. This thing's going to go to the moon. And that's when I started writing about a year and a half ago that the dollar's not going to die. The dollar's going to go into monetary hypervelocity, where it's just really going to go higher and higher in value and die of what I call, and I coined the term, monetary hypoxia. And that's where that's what's going to happen with the dollar. So if you're going to have a dollar that's going to be dying of monetary hypoxia because it's being valued higher and higher, which we're seeing, by the way, okay, you're going to have a market, an equities market that's going to follow suit. It's just going to happen. And for the first time ever, we're seeing all the markets marching in unison, up, 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 up. It's like your heart is speeding up because you're having a heart attack, Right. The heart just... When you have a heart attack, it's not up, 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 and then up, up. It's just up, 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 and it just pops, like severe cardiac arrest. That's what happens. Okay? It just beats itself out. And I think that's what's going to happen with the market. Eventually, it's going to happen. And not happening this year. I still believe firmly nothing is going to happen this year. But that being said, you got guys that are still married to this ridiculous paradigm. Only gold. Only silver. Okay. Look, I work in the precious metals international procurement business. Okay, I work in international logistics. CJ, I'm not going to mention names, but there are certain guests that when I mention who I work for, okay, and these guys, yeah, I work for such and such here in the United States, and the company that I'm working with is a supplier to these guys. They never came back on the show, CJ. They never even wanted to be on the show after that one. Never even wanted to be on the show after that one. Because they got this little dog and pony show with a little American gold buying audience. And they think that and when I ask questions, so who are you voting with? And people are thinking, oh yeah, I'm going with such and such a company, I'm gonna vote here. And when I find out who they're voting with and what jurisdiction, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, that's disastrous. That's disastrous, right? And I'm like, you're setting your client up for failure. And they know I can call them out on it. I say nothing. I say nothing. And so I'll just leave it at that. I say nothing. So all these guys are pushing all this BS, thinking that their stuff is all safe and secure. You got another thing coming to you. You got another thing coming to you. Like, look at a lot of these guys. They got to clear. Who's doing all the clearing from? It's a firm out in Jersey. It's a firm out in Jersey that's clearing a lot of this. Go back this, go back that. That's ridiculous.
It's kind of almost the equivalent of just staying to the hardline paradigm that the politicians, the deep state is in regarding that everything moves around the U.S. That there is no emerging market, that there's no new Silk Road, and that we don't need to become involved with it because American politics have always worked. American dollar dominancy has always worked. And it's going to continue to work again for the next 100 years, V, and that's not true. That's not true. Same holds true with the currency. The dollar cannot last forever. Can it last a long time? Absolutely. But it's again, when you see it, the dollar, you take a look at the buying power of the dollar, you take a look at the hidden inflation that's hidden from anywhere from retail to Fed manipulation. I mean, come on. All right. At least with Bitcoin, there's a level right now of transparency that we're able to see as far as the number in circulation, the price, what it's trading at. Is it a perfect system? No, it's still being worked on. They're still working out the kinks, the people that are housing the Bitcoin and how to get it to you. But it's on the forefront. It's on the cusp of an old dying system, and we're merging to this new technology system that's going to be able to do peer-to-peer trading, peer-to-peer, swaps for goods, services.
Right. And they're terrified.
And they're terrified, completely out of the traditional brick and mortar, everything that America has become so accustomed to. It's changing, V, and people just don't want to face that fact.
Right. And look, here's the thing. You could ban all the cash you want. Number one, I think it was Charles. Was it Charles Hugh Smith who made the best damn argument? They're not going to ban cash. How do you think the drug trade that they profit from, how do you think they get paid? Let's break that down real quick, CJ. I know we're going a little off topic, but I just got to get into this.
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it.
This is what guys who are the mainstream of financial guys don't understand, that I get, and this is why they're terrified. I mean, look, here's the deal. They're not going to ban cash. Will they try to get around Bitcoin and try to ban it? Yeah, probably limit it, this, that, but they're not. They can't stop that. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's like trying to find a grain of sand colored red that's been dropped in the Sahara Desert. Good luck. They're not going to ban cash. They profit off the money that comes from the drug trade, which is all in cash. Charles Hugh Smith made the best argument for that. And he's absolutely 100% right. Brad Birkenfeld proved it, that the cash that comes in is laundered through their big banks. I mean, do you guys realize? A lot of you guys bought into the narrative. It was subprime mortgages that caused the collapse of 2008. Subprime mortgages. I can prove to you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that from the very moment that when the drug cartel banks were threatening to pull liquidity out of certain U.S. banks that were laundering the money for the cartels, that is the initiating catalyst that caused the entire market to fall apart. It wasn't subprime mortgages. That just happens to be one of the victims, and that was eventually going to be a market that was going to pop. But it was the money laundering that was occurring with Wachovia, that was occurring with Wells Fargo, that was occurring with HSBC, that was occurring with Bank of America, that was occurring with all the other subsidiaries that were working in Mexico. They had hundreds of billions of dollars in liquidity, CJ, was threatened to be pulled instantaneously. And a lot of the cartels did. Who's setting that up? U.S. government.
Yep.
So what they did is the black, covert, operational equivalent of J.P. Morgan initiating the stock market collapse in 1929. It's the
Bingo.
same thing. He spread a rumor that there's going to be a run on the banks, that there's going to be calling into the margin loans. And that sent the panic because everybody was buying stocks on margin. And he said that the margin loans are getting called in. And people panicked, and there was a run on the banks. Markets collapsed overnight. Morgan profited. U.S. government tells its CIA assets, the Sinaloa cartels, the Los Zetas, and the Los Locos, and the and the Nacho Hermanos, all the guys that are down there in Mexico, that hey, all right guys, this is what you're gonna do. 1, 2, 3, you're gonna threaten to pull all your funds out of the banks, and all those banks. Remember, it's all derivative of derivative. People say, well, the subprime mortgages, interest rate. There were so many freaking derivatives on every single mortgage. Nobody knows what anything was. The titles were all gone. Okay? So that was a problem, that if the cartels never pulled the money out, they could have rode that wave out. They would, it would have been a reset to a housing price. It wouldn't have caused the type of collapse it did. And that's a fact. Anybody who does some real financial forensics will find that out. We have a solvency crisis. Okay, we have a liquidity crisis. I've been saying it since 2012 when I came on the scene. We have a liquidity and a solvency crisis. Nothing's changed. We're still in a solvency crisis. It's better mitigated by the fact that we have 0% interest rates. It's better mitigated by the fact that we are entering an era that possibly, Stanley Fischer, the real head of the Fed, is saying that possibly, we might go into negative interest rates because of why, Mr. Fisher? Why will we go to negative interest rate? Because it benefits the investor. Boom, and there you have it.
Right.
So why would they stop banning cash and getting rid of cash? Not going to happen.
No.
Not going to happen.
Nope.
Moving on to the next thing. Pick one, Siege. Pick one. I ran a little long on that one. You pick whatever you want, bro. Go ahead.
We talked about the whole paradigm shift, and again, we're seeing it with India and Pakistan now joining the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So the entire pivots, and I don't know who called that one out. I remember maybe someone on this broadcast called that out a while back.
Yeah, I think it was that guy who used to flip burgers. Now he has a radio show. What's his name? The guy who people think is just a schlep rock. Oh wait. Is it the guy who swings from the trees and eats bananas, and he's not Tarzan?
That's right.
It's I, the gorilla from the concrete jungle, call this out. India, look, I said this before. The most powerful driver in human civilization is economics. Economics is everything. Yeah, that's why I'm a guerrilla economist. I don't have a PhD from the Ivy League school. But I understand how the way freaking things work, and I'm able to connect things in like a broad variety of things in such a way that it makes sense. Okay? And I'm able to connect it. I just have a brain for this kind of crap. So anyway, when you look at, economics, and I say it's the most powerful driver in human civilization, because it is. It is. People are able to put aside their differences for economic reasons. And amid growing hostilities between India and arch rival Pakistan, which these are two countries that are fighting two wars, 2 or 3 wars against each other. Okay,
right.
And now because of the economic cooperation that exists, okay, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the SCO, the regional formation, which is dominated by Russia and China, was established to counter U.S. geopolitical strategy. It was the SCO and the New Silk Road was set up primarily to undo the plan that Ziggy, thank you to God that he is dead, Brzezinski, okay, has concocted in the Grand Chessboard, which is the control of Eurasia. The Atlanticists knows that the greatest rival to the Atlanticist hegemony will arise from Eurasia. They know that. That is why they have done everything in their power, CJ, everything in their power to make sure that a rival never rises. But it's too late now. Cat's out of the bag. And now they try to do a little proxy thing where the U.S. comes along and tells India. They don't understand that India is going to do its own thing. It's very neutral. It's a non-aligned country. It's very neutral. India's going to do what's best for India. China's going to do what's best for China. Russia's going to do what's best for Russia. Okay? And they thought that people in the East are not pragmatic. They thought that people in the East are, not as sophisticated or lackadaisical as the ones in the West. They're not. There are no lackeys there. So for the sake of economics, okay, Pakistan and India were able to put down their differences, and they're joining SCO, and they will create an economic union. Who knows? Maybe down the road, Pakistan will probably, or a good chunk of Pakistan could possibly get reabsorbed into India. Who knows?
Wow. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, at one point, they were all one country. I mean, that's the whole situation there, man. I mean, that just shows you, why can't us, the U.S., do stuff like that? No, we're too busy blowing shit up.
Well, our sanctions are working everywhere. Or, our sanctions against Russia are working. Our sanctions against Iran are working.
If anybody wanted any proof fact that the U.S. doesn't call the shots, if you're still under the thinking that, oh my God, the U.S. is the most advanced military in the world. Oh, the elites, they control everything. And you're sitting there and you're eating cat food, and you're waiting in your mother's basement, waiting for the SWAT team to come through the door. I want you to look at the facts. Let's look at some hard facts. Who kicked the U.S. out of the Middle East? The Russians and the Chinese. They failed in the Middle East. They failed in Eastern Europe. They failed all over with their sanctions. Nothing they're doing is working. They're failing in the South China Seas. They're failing all over Eurasia. They're failing militarily, economically. They're failing sociologically in influence. They're failing in Africa. Where have they won, CJ? Where?
Nowhere. I mean, what we witness here in the U.S., as far as the political awakening, is happening globally, but it's in a sense of the U.S., right? It's the paradigm awakening around the globe that, the U.S., sphere of influence is pretty much over, V.
It's done. People talk about the end of Pax Americana. Pax Americana is over. It's done. And Trump knows this. The question is, where is going to be our position on the table? Okay, where's our position going to be on the table? Because if we don't develop our industries and get out of this stupid, war-like, perpetual war, perpetual debt paradigm that we're on, if we're still holding on to that crap, we're going to go right into the ground, we're going to crash, and we're going to burn. Number one. Number two, if we don't change, the only thing we'll have left is the only industries we have, which is pornography, trash, and recyclables. And just like I talked about yesterday in Hump Day, the only way you're going to be surviving and praying for and paying for your food and all that, you're going to have to be getting wank coin. Okay? Now, if you haven't heard me talk about wank coin, that is a cryptocurrency created for those who are the purveyors and purchasers of pornography, and they can do it anonymously. Because that'll be the only thing left for Americans to do: just sit around and watch porn all day, and buy their food, their booze, and their condoms with wank coin. There'll be nothing else left to do, and then pick up, you'd be like some of these homeless guys we see in New York, where they're collecting like bottles and recyclable materials and bring it to the recycling center to get recycled, so you can get paid and wank, and then you go home and wank off. That's it. That's what's going to happen. That's your future, America, if you don't wake up.
You're exactly right, V, and that's why it's just, everything else, V, when you take a look at our agenda, everything else is a distraction at this point, okay? And I don't, I'm at the point where I don't even like talking about it anymore, because it's such a distraction. The Washington Post is so in line with the globalists, with the deep state.
Disgusting.
Mueller appointing these DNC supporting donators, the former attorney for the Clinton Foundation.
I love it.
All these things are just a huge distraction, keeping us from what is occurring. And that's it. That all Americans need to get awake. We need to. Some of the things that you've talked about several shows is, if you have a passion, you have a skill, put it to use. Break down the old paradigm. Get involved with cryptocurrencies. Gold, silver. Help get solutions based to help your family for what's in front of us. Because don't count on the government. No one is going to help you but you. The government's not going to do it. V.
Right. Exactly correct, man. The government is not going to do it, and no one's going to help you except yourself. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstrap and get it done. Otherwise there's no hope, man. I mean, I love the fact that Mueller and he's doing this. What these idiots haven't realized already, if you haven't gotten through their thick liberal heads, is this: Donald Trump is the Teflon Don. He's the Teflon Don. And he's been absolutely bulletproof, and nothing that they've thrown against him has ever stuck. It's not going to. So this whole thing's a waste of time. Donald Trump's going to stand up and just say, by the rules and according to law, he can fire Mueller, and it's going to happen. This is going to be wonderful. So let it happen. They're going to fall on their own sword. It's just stupid. Now they're gonna look at obstruction of justice. I mean, get over it, dude. There's no. I mean, you had the head of the FBI, you jackwad, who came out and said, "Hey, you know what? There's no. I'm the leaker, basically. I'm the leaker, and if there's anybody that obstructed justice, it's me." That's basically what Slim Shady Comey has said.
Yeah, and V, according to my research and what I've read, and again, I could be proven wrong, and I don't have a problem with that, but no U.S. sitting president he can't get prosecuted for this. The AG, the people that have researched have said, it would not be in the best interest for a sitting U.S. president to be prosecuted for anything. And I'm just saying that even in the event that they did get to that situation, and this is admitted in this Washington Post article, it specifically states it, of course, in the very last portion, very last paragraph of the entire article, and then because they realize that most people won't read that far,
right?
It specifically states this. It states that regardless of what happens, that the only thing that could happen would be for the Congress, for the Senate to bring up articles of impeachment, which we know is not going to happen. So all this is just a huge smokescreen.
It's kabuki theater.
Absolutely.
1,000%, man. And I mean, the funny thing is, the other day, the idiots at Bloomberg, another dish rag of ill repute. Okay, the Bloomberg idiots have come forward and said, "Oh, the Russians have hacked 39 states." When CJ, you broke the story here months before anybody else did, that the freaking DHS hacked Georgia's elections.
Georgia, Indiana, there's at least 8 states now that are reporting their firewalls attempt their security forms, reporting that an IP address linked to DHS was trying to infiltrate their election systems.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Unreal, man. Anyway, real quick, it looks like it's almost over. Apart from barring any U.S. airstrikes, it's pretty much over for USIS in Syria, CJ.
Yeah, it's over. I think we've been saying this now for a while, but this is definitely coming in. You're seeing some of the former strongholds in the south of Syria be taken back by the Syrian army. Under support from Russia. You're seeing that very little can be done at this point to reverse the course that Syria is currently on.
Absolutely, man. Al-Masdar news agency, and CJ, we always get people that are on the ground in Syria that we post up whenever we get a chance in our roguemoney.net website, on the ground sources from Syria. But Al-Masdar news agency, which is known to have reliable contacts within the Syrian military itself, claims that up to 50,000 Syrian troops and allied militia have been concentrated in the territory of Eastern Homs province in and around the recently liberated city of Palmyra. The standards of the Syrian war, this is a huge force, which heavily outnumbers ISIS fighters in the area. Apparently, the objective is to use this force to advance toward Deir ez-Zor, which is basically the last stronghold of ISIS, relieving this eastern city, which has been undergoing a close siege by ISIS for several years, but which recently ISIS has been making a sustained attempt to overrun, as it apparently plans to transfer its capital there from Raqqa. The fact that the Syrian military has been able to concentrate such a huge force in the area is a sign of how the strategy of creating de-escalation areas is working, making it possible for the previously severely overstretched Syrian military to concentrate its forces in a way that has not been able to do previously. The result has been a series of rapid advances. The Syrian military has fully driven ISIS out of Aleppo, capturing all the previously ISIS-held towns and villages there, whilst hugely extending the territory under the control of the Syrian military further south, where they have now, for the first time in years, reached the Iraqi border. I mean, think about this, man. Huge. And for the Syrians to put 50,000 Syrian troops in one area, you know what that tells me? That tells me there's not going to be a U.S. airstrike. Because if they're confident enough to put that many troops together, concentrate in one area, that means they're not worried about a U.S. plane inadvertently, quote unquote, inadvertently bombing them, right?
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what that means, you know what the Russians have told the U.S.? Remember you and I reported on Lavrov saying no more U.S. airstrikes?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then, boom, this happens. That means the Russians are setting up air patrols and they're setting up their S-400 missile batteries. It's over, guys. It's pretty much the fat lady is the fat camel is about to croak. ISIS is about done. Goodbye, ISIS. And barring any airstrikes from the deep state, which I don't think they're stupid enough to do it at this point, game over, buddy.
Game over.
Anything else you want to cover before you call it out? I know we ran a little late today, but it's technical Thursdays, bro. It's technical
Thursdays. Yeah, no, today's a jam-packed day. I believe James has another hard-hitting article that's going to be posted at roguemoney.net. We're hanging with Harley today, so tune back in at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And then we're going to shoot for Cuss with Gus later this afternoon, about 5:15 for that show. So stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely, man. Absolutely. All right, folks. Thank you all for listening in. Again, roguemoney.net, Rogue Money, Facebook at The Rogue Money, on Twitter. And you could also check us out. Our sponsors, myfreedomnow.us. And if you haven't done so already, get the Apple News app. We're there. And the podcasting. Get our podcast. Most importantly, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. We are fighting the algos that are fighting us. So make sure you hit that notification bell. You might have to resubscribe 15 times. but just keep doing it, please. With that being said, we are over and we're out. Take it away, Siege.